Hey, welcome back to Undertaker 365. This is Jacob Vandenberg, licensed funeral director at Vandenberg Funeral Home. Today I'm joined with a great colleague of mine, John Ligda of Ligda Funeral Service, and we're really happy you're with us today, John.
Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, so today's point of the video is to bring the viewer up to date on what PPE is, personal protective equipment, and how it relates to the funeral industry. So what John and I would like to do first for you today is give you a general description of the equipment that we're using to protect ourselves from any contamination or infectious diseases. So first things that we do, we have the ever so popular N95 respirator mask. Extremely important that you're using N95 when you're dealing with hazardous and infectious diseases. So we're going to do the first step. We can put it on our face.
Middle side up.
You're going to want to crimp down the top so it's forming around your nose and creates a firm barrier sealing around your face. The second step for me is always to place my visor on. Now I know you already have your gloves on, but I use two sets of gloves. The first pair I'm going to be using a pair of just general, these are 4mm nitrile gloves. And then a lot of people will like to double glove and use an exterior glove that has a longer cuff line to it. So we'll go ahead and double glove. Okay, so we have the general concept of what PPE is and how it relates to the funeral industry. This would be the minimal, right? The minimal that we would use in infectious disease. There's medical gowns, surgical gowns that we could place over the top of our embalming smock. I use a pair of Crocs as my shoes that I work with in the preparation room. There are obviously booties that you could place over these, right?
Exactly.
You probably use those at some point. There you got them on. All of this is disposable. It's very important to mention. Mm-hmm. Obviously we're in a heightened state of awareness when it comes to infectious disease, specifically COVID-19. So we are trying to reutilize our masks, our visors. Obviously your gloves are disposable.
Yep.
Our smocks, these are laundered, washable, yep. The surgical gowns that we'd be placing on ourselves are disposable.
Exactly.
Is there anything else basically to PPE that we want the public to know?
No, I think these are the minimum requirements that you want to take if you want to protect yourself and you want to protect your loved ones and other people in the building. You know, you create that nice barrier that hopefully will protect everyone in the end.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take this part off just to have a more candid conversation. As you could tell, it could become kind of cumbersome to work with because it gets a little warm. But what I want the viewers to understand is that the equipment that we're using in the funeral home protects the embalmers, protects its staff when we're handling remains of those that have passed from infectious disease, and certainly those that haven't, because there's often times that we'll run into scenarios where we're not notified that that person's passed from an infectious disease. Exactly. So you treat every remains that you treat as though they are contagious in some sort or have an infectious disease, correct?
It's absolutely right, especially if they come from a public facility like a hospital, or if it be a medical or a medical examiner or coroner's morgue. We don't know what might have come in contact with them. Mm-hmm. So if we just take that precaution, you know, and it increases our safety level, you know, 10 times. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So universal precautions are generally utilized throughout the funeral industry, and yeah, these are life-saving equipment that we use on a daily basis. nowadays are very hard to find, and we're trying to do our best by staying well inventoried with our products, as well as using the state and federal resources so that we're able to continue to do our job as being essential services in a world pandemic. So, John, thanks again for coming in and giving us a trial run on our PPE. I hope this was an informative, informational broadcast for you today, understanding that your mortuary workers are here to serve, and if we're serving, we need to be very protected. So here's your quick rundown on your PPEs. Thanks for joining.
Stay safe.